Okay.
So then we can officially call the meeting to order. Sorry, I'm late. First item up would be the September 14th minutes, and I'll entertain a motion.
I would move approval.
All right. Do we have a second?
I will second.
Does anybody have anything to discuss at all?
I just want to ask a question about the bee cycle. When this was presented at tourism, we didn't take any action on it, but I think it was at this meeting that we discovered that this was more like a sponsorship, correct? Instead of ownership.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I would say that.
I think this is accurate then. So thanks.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Otherwise, all those in favor say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
And does anybody oppose? All right, motion carries. So we can move into the hotel updates. Jim, do you want to kick that one off?
Sure. Business travel is still same old, nothing is moving there hardly, but group is still happening, still consistent at about, 80% of anticipated attendance. Social type events are still doing better than business related. Multi-day conferences are the ones that are tending to come in a little bit under expected. The social type ones are coming in pretty close to what they normally would historically. I will say that I did receive a message today from Epic about XGM and UGM next year, and they are planning on going forward with XGM and full capacity as they would have in previous years, and then XGM as well. So that's positive. In terms of their travel, their business guests, they're still offering virtual or in person. So there's no update there, but eventually they'll go back to requiring that people start traveling in to be on campus for their training. So once that happens, that'll be great for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Julie, did you want to do your updates?
Sure, I have a couple of things here. Laura, are you able to bring up the agenda? Okay, thank you. I'm sorry?
Oh, I'll bring it up right now.
Thank you. Kind of piggybacking on what Jim said here, I got the STAR report yesterday, and we're still doing all right. We're trending a little bit downward. The occupancy in August was 56.3, and we're down to 48.6 in September. It's not really a surprise to me. We've been talking about this basically all during the leisure travel season, that when leisure travel slowed down, we were probably going to see these numbers in a bit of a decline. This same for the average daily rate, slight downtick there. We've gone from $123.78 to $120.85. But we're still doing better than we were, obviously, in 2020. However, still trending below 2019 levels. So I think if the numbers hold as forecasted for the fourth quarter, we're going to be pretty close to what we had forecasted at the beginning of the year for revenue for 2021. Quick branding update. Staff talked about the launch that we had proposed for the month of November. And after looking at all of the deliverables that we still need to be doing some work on, we don't feel like we're on pace to really be able to have the kind of launch that we want we want to present in the month of November. So we're going to push it into early January, which is where we had originally started out. And we're doing that because we don't want to get lost in any holiday activity that takes place between Thanksgiving and New Year's. If we can figure out a way to share some of the work that we're doing with you without having it get too much into the public eye, see what we can share with you next month. The commercials are looking really good. Murray's been working very hard on the visitor guide. That's going to be a totally new look and feel for that piece of marketing collateral. So some really exciting stuff going on around the branding refresh. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was the USA Curling announced their 2022 Mixed Doubles National Championship today. Press release went out, and I was happy to see that Middleton was mentioned on several occasions in the press release, and we have Brandon Holstein to thank for that. He's been really great about communicating with me and sharing the content. So it took a while for them to ink that agreement, but it's a done deal now, and we'll start working on planning for that event coming up next year. That's all I have, Corey.
Oh, it's good news. I was hoping that one was going to confirm. It's over a slower time frame too, isn't it?
Yeah, let me pull that up here real quick. March 6 through 13.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, because it overlaps.
Right
I
in
think.
between the WIAA tournaments.
Yeah, it takes over the girls basketball weekend that was always kind of slow after they left. All right, sounds good. Well, we can keep moving forward. I think our next item up is the cross country outdoor recreation center. I believe is Yuri on for the grant request.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
I can go ahead and turn it over to you if you'd like. If you want to go over some stuff or go over what you had planned to talk about for the grant.
Okay, Julie, I don't know did you want to bring up the slides? If I can give a quick update.
Sure. Laura, the slides should be in the pack.
They are, let me just, are you seeing it now? I don't know, should I reduce it down here? Is that okay for everyone to see?
Yeah, looks like. Yeah, so that's the image from our groundbreaking ceremony. So we had a good start, and maybe we can just go to the next slide down. So this is just overall fundraising that includes multiple stages. So the first stage, we in the construction right now for the road and a phase 1 parking lot. So they ran a little bit in some bedrock, not surprising, doing the construction next to the quarry. So that will get us a little bit, maybe a week or two slower to finish up the driveway and the parking lot, but it will be done the same before Thanksgiving. Maybe we can go to the next slide that kind of shows all the different phases here. So we raised all of the funds for the parking for Access Drive and the first phase parking lot. And then you can see, well, the land was donated by Dan Urban, so now it's owned by the city. And we have a lease with the city to operate trails and do the construction on the land. Then when the active, and then there's a 3 active phases of needed for cross-country ski trails, snowmaking, mountain bike park trails, and trailhead and event center. What you see, we not quite closed on the Access Drive and parking lot. That's an extension, second phase parking lot that will give us capacity of 60 total spaces. So right now it's 16 at the phase 1. And once we complete it, it will be at 60 spots. And then with ski trails and snowmaking, so we received the grant in the past, which was actually a great boost for our fundraising because we were able to clear the trails by using our crew from Oregon. Madison helped to kind of organize them so that we were able to keep the cost down and get a lot done. And the trail was groomed for last 3 years. And the nice part of what we've learned, even for local residents, when golf course would not allow us to groom on a golf course because of the low snow, and they were concerned about damage on the golf course, we still were able to groom trails on the Dan Urban's property, and people were able to use them. And then mountain bike park and trails, so we're working with Corp on developing that. That's shaping up very well, and looks like the construction of that will start next spring. And then we also have already some commitments toward the trailhead building in event center. So maybe if we go to the next slide, it can have a little bit more details in there. So that's completed. As I mentioned, the land is transferred to Dan Urban by Dan Urban to the city of Middleton, and we'll have a lease signed. So it's 8 acres of land plus about 3.5 miles of 3 miles of trail easement that was donated by Dan Urban. So maybe next slide. So that's the picture from maybe a couple weeks ago. There's a lot more done right now. I mean, the road is looking like it is drivable road. Even they doing the blasting, it's drivable. You can drive from the bottom to the top. And they already excavated the parking lot as well. So it's pretty close to the final grade. So moving really well. And the next slide. So that's when in fundraising for snowmaking phase right now, and finishing up the trail. So it's kind of 2 active fundraising, and as the weather getting a little bit colder, I know, Julie, you excited about warm weather. I'm excited about getting a little colder because people start thinking about snow and want to get on skis. So, but we have several commitments already, and we're working also on a proposal with HKD. So you see the machines from them for the naming rights for the trails and providing equipment for us. So this is in a very active phase right now, and we actually hope to make snow this winter. Hopefully, supply chain not going to affect. I mean, we know there are some delays, but the snowmaking pond we have a stormwater permit for snowmaking plant for snowmaking pond. We have contractors lined up for the well, for the pump, MG&E for electricity. There's a little bit delay again because of some parts we need for the service panel, but we're still planning to make snow at least on about 1 mile around the perimeter of the upper field, kind of to get the tested and get the public awareness and people to ski. Maybe next slide now. So that's a mountain bike pump track. So it's about just over 50% of the funds raised. So the way it's actually will work really nicely with a pump track because they can expand it as much as they have money. So whatever the funds they have committed right now, they can move ahead for next year to start construction. And then as we're raising money, and we're working with Corp together and the city of Middleton with Madison on applying, we're actually applying for 2 different grants, one from the state, one from federal grant towards the trails and the mountain bike park. So they can actually easily add elements until we utilize the full space for the mountain bike pump track. But this will be probably one of the best, once it's all completed, if we raise 100% of the funds, this will be #1 bike park in the region. The next closer one is a southern part of Chicago, which is not in the best neighborhood. It's a big marsh. I went there myself just to see it. So in terms of having a mountain bike park of that scale in the metropolitan area, this will be a prime facility in the Midwest. Next slide. And this is our outdoor recreation sports center. There's 2 phases in the building. First phase will have a trailhead and moving our indoor facilities we have right now in Madison. to Middleton. And that's about 8,000 square feet. The next phase will be 6,000 square feet. That's an event space for having corporate events, weddings, business meetings, plus athletic events at that facility. So that's we also starting already donations on that. We did select already the construction designs will be ready by end of this month. And we already selected contractor 1848. Actually, I've met at the Middleton Chamber of Commerce, one of the events a year and a half ago. And I know they used to have an office in Middleton somewhere, I believe. Maybe still do. But anyway, so we selected the contractor. So we're just working with them on the plans and raising money to have that facility built. Hopefully, the construction will start next spring. And then next slide. So that's the trail from actually this past winter goes around this upper field. That's where the parking lot will be located. And then it again connects to the trails at the Pleasant View. We took over grooming of Pleasant View golf course trails last winter, 100%. The trails were groomed almost every day. The Madison Nordic Ski Club did a survey of all of the members in the community, the best places to ski. So Pleasant View went from the bottom of the list to the second place best to ski in Dane County. So it was, the groomer was there with equipment, and that's actually a section of the course that will have a snowmaking lights in the future as well. And then next slide. So that's kind of the full trail system. It doesn't show connection to Blackhawk, but it is connected to Blackhawk Ski Club. So you can see different trails on the golf course and on the Dan urban property. You can see this winter, actually starting this winter, access to the ski trails and the mountain bike trails will be through a new access drive, which is under construction right now. And the parking will be there. It is limited, but so it resolves the conflict between the golf course and the mountain bike community from the past. So we just gonna expand the opportunity for people to use the trail system and have a better experience. Right now, from mountain bike perspective, I mean, there's a lot of actually cars already coming from outside, even the state, from Illinois. Quite a bit of people come from that way. It's a great trail system, especially if you ride both Pleasant View and Blackhawk. And it's a pretty clumsy access point right now through the golf course. It's not very user friendly. So once the parking lot and the access drive is completed this fall, this will provide much better experience. And even if we have a kilometer, 1.5 kilometer of trail down this winter, potentially, this will bring a lot of people right away, especially from 150-mile radius, and probably will be one of the top places to ski in southern Wisconsin if we get all of the pieces in place in time before it gets cold. And then the next one, I think that shows the map what you guys helped us in 2017. That was an initial push really that helped us moving forward. So that's the section of the trail you see in blue that was cleared and finished. And then the red one, that's additional sections of the trail. We asked Dan, the trail designer came last fall, and he suggested to add these sections of the trail just to have a better user experience. Dan was willing to donate additional land for the trail to actually to make a better trail system. And what it really does, it provides an opportunity of the trail to offer different kind of like extend and provide options for different skill level of skiers and the fitness level. So it actually becomes more user-friendly for all level of skiers. So if someone just starting to ski, they will ski on the upper field, kind of on the east side of the trail. And as they're getting more experience and more fitness, they kind of go towards west trail system and can ski the whole Yeah, so it provides a lot more options, and that's what the request is. If for the help to complete the trail system while we have all heavy equipment on site, and be ready next spring for final grading of the trail and get it completed. There is also a plan to add about 2 miles of novice trails. So we're working with Corp, and those novice mountain bike trails, well, there will be not just the mountain bike trails, there will be also hiking trails and snowshoe trails. So they will stay within the corridor of the ski trail that Dan Urban donating, and the easement, and the 50-foot easement. So pretty much all the green trails you see, those in the summer, those will be also kind of single track hiking trails, which are kind of pretty limited right now because of the golf course, what you can do there. And really, with the building coming in place, hopefully that's really will get us to the next stage of bringing events. So we've been already in discussions with the Madison Sports Commission. I mean, we had a list of events potentially we can start bidding. Some of the events take 2-3 years to bring them here once we put the bid and bid goes through. But I'm guessing there's quite a few events probably will be in a time of the year that is not very busy from the tourism perspective. And we can also look specifically on those windows of times and see what kind of events we can bid moving forward and can bring. I just actually, right before the meeting, I've heard from Blue Plate. So we're working with them as the key, as our main contractor, and to lease the space for their corporate events and weddings. So they looks like they still very interested and ready to make a commitment. So that will bring additional events in between sport events that we will block those windows when we bring regional, national, potentially international events in the area. And mountain bike community actually have been also very active. So I think from perspective of sports commission, having a turnkey outdoor facility, that's probably will be the only one of the very few turnkey outdoor endurance facilities in the in southern Midwest for sure. That, I mean, the variety of events can be there, from snowshoe, national championships, orienteering, winter, summer, besides cross-country skiing and mountain biking, cross-country running, adventure events. So there's a big list of events that we've been discussing with the sports commission that the facility will be ready to host soon. That's all I have. So if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer.
I've got several. I was going to actually ask you, so the last slide here, and that was going to be one of my questions, is to remind us, remind everybody specifically what we funded back a few years ago, which is obviously in blue. Like, are the specific red lines like that what you're asking for? So that is like for additional trailhead. And if you said that, forgive me, I might have missed that. But what specifically is that then?
It's a new trail. Yeah, it's a new trail that needs to be cut through the woods. Yeah.
Okay. So then the green, is that already there or no?
That's already there. Yeah. So,
okay, so this is kind of
some of it in the open areas, most of the greens kind of goes around the fields, farm fields on the edge of the woods.
Okay.
Some of the trails was done in prior, like between Black Hawk and Madison Nordic Ski Club, that switchback trail that connects up on the far west.
Yeah.
So some of the trails were just the old farm roads.
Okay.
Yeah, so we didn't have to do much. The west, the east side of the trail, all will be graded, and also city of Middleton committed to pave that trail as well. So this will be paved section of the trail, and it will be connected with a paved trail parallel to the Pleasant View Golf Course Drive, to the pretty much through the Pleasant View to the bike path that kind of right now dead ends at the Pleasant View Road.
Okay.
And then eventually connects to the Greenway Station.
I don't want to like speak for everyone, but I'm sure I think we're probably in agreement. At least this is from myself. I mean, we're all really excited for this, hence our continued support for it. I think the $1 million question is from the city standpoint, is we're really not going to see any room night impact until the building is completed. And, you know, I'd be curious to know, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but like, is there like a certain fundraising goal you're trying to get to start that building? Or do you, is that kind of one of those all or nothings where you need to, you know, get the full funding? Or do you have, you know, some leads on some funding that maybe come? I was just curious to how you came up with the spring.
So with a building, actually, we can host event without a building. We can, another option, the worst case scenario, we can put up that section of the land can be graded and we can put up a big tent. And even
Okay.
from Blue Plate, I mean, they can operate, especially, well, in the summer, they can operate most of the events out of the tent. So, but the minimum really we're planning to do is to build a 8,000 square foot trailhead and the tent. So that's also an option. Or then have a full capacity building. So we can start events really from 8,000 square foot building and the tent, any level of events really.
Have you started selling like the events out there yet, or had interest in that? Or is it, you know, it's kind of hard because you're finishing the lot and all that stuff. So
we've hosted many events in the past. Again, before we start looking in this venue and having conversation with Dan Urban, I mean, we've hosted a lot of events up in Cable area. And we actually, the organization, we sanction those events. So we have direct access to understand what events are forbidden, what events happening. We also will move events that we have hosted in the past at Elva Park, because this will be pretty much turnkey facility for those events, like Wisconsin State Championships, Junior Nation qualifier. So we definitely will move events that we've had in Elva at this facility. It will be way better suited for that. And there's some, once it's done, definitely the facility, the events that we can bring from Ski for Light and again, state level events or regional level events, that wouldn't, most of the times in that level athletic events, they like rotation of the venues and kind of giving another, there's not many venues also. So it's a struggle really around the country having facilities like this. So it wouldn't be very challenging, to start bringing events from cross-country ski perspective. And then what I understand from Jamie, Patrick, they just don't have a facility that can go right now and get events in the area of this scale.
So do you anticipate events out there next year? Kind of where I'm going with all this is like, it's like if you guys are really considering like a tent, I know a lot of the wedding venues in the area are actually sold out for next year as well. And it's just like if you had the resources to do it, it probably, you could start it probably sooner than you thought if you're able to. Yes,
no, we're considering, I mean, if fundraising by some reason, we have quotes for the tents, for semi permanent tents, for permanent tents, for permanent tents that actually stand in the winter as well with full HVAC. I mean, it's amazing how inexpensive they are. I mean, you can put good sized tent, 8,000 square foot for $150,000 with full HVAC in it.
Right. No, that is pretty crazy.
So yeah, it's definitely all. I mean, we definitely hope to have starting events starting next summer.
Yeah.
I mean, the building will be in the construction. Even if we start the building probably wouldn't be ready until later in the fall, but we'll be ready for the winter. But again, it doesn't stop us to have starting some events in the fall.
And then I've got one last question, and then if anyone else has anything, it's not as relevant to this discussion, but it's just more curiosity. So like when the parking lot, when everything's done, and when we hit the season, are you guys going to be charging to use the trails then, or how does that work? Not
for mountain biking. We will have a trail fee for cross-country skiing, just because the cost of maintenance of the trail and snowmaking is so high. So we will have two different fees. And it's very typical to all of the areas that have snowmaking and consistent grooming, like on a daily basis. So there will be all access pass that will provide a pass for the full trail system. And then will be natural snow pass only. And there will be individual pass, family pass, and the kids will be like, I think 14 years and younger or 16 will be free.
Okay. I didn't mean to hijack the Q&A there. If anyone else has a question.
No, it's a good question. But you know, that's just the kind of, that's industry standard. And the mountain bike trail, our hope is to continue to have it free because again, the maintenance of the mountain bike trails is very, very low. And City of Middleton has that in the budget, some funds.
Okay.
It doesn't take much.
This is Kathy Yuri. Thank you for the presentation. I do have one question about the pump park, and
Mhm.
that's shown here in the gold. And then
Yes.
you mentioned that in phase 3, there could be a possibility for expansion. Would that be within the footprint of what you have shown here, or would that extend beyond where the gold is in this trail?
And extend my understanding from mountain bike from the core, it can't extend straight south. You can see kind of like
Okay.
there's gold and there's a trail. So
Yes.
right now it's a wooded area in there. So it
Okay.
can't extend south. So kind of like add about another third.
Okay, so could it extend without beyond the footprint of what's shown here, just to
Yes.
add more? Okay,
And there's
got it.
another idea mountain bikers had, and which we open. They want to build some easy trail for the kids around the snowmaking pond as well.
Okay,
So that will add even more place to play for the kids or for anybody really.
wonderful. Thank you.
Anyone else? So just some background, I guess, information about the availability of funds. I don't know, Julie, do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I can jump in here. I've got our year to expense report as of the end of September in front of me. We have about 30% of what we budgeted for trade show grants has been spent. We started out with 60,500 in that line, and we've spent 18,436 and some change. Corey, is your 2021 stuff in here? Or is that in addition?
Well, it was 6,000. I mean, it should be in there.
Okay. So
Yeah,
if
that was small.
if that's in here, then we've got $42,063 left in this line. The city branding, which was the landmark plaques, planning department told me it was going to be probably $1,000, no more than $1,000, and we have 12,500 budgeted in that line. So I think between those two lines, we have a cushion here. We're doing really well on the rest of the budget, by the way. We're under everywhere at this point. So I would say, even though we're operating with a deficit budget, we do have funds available that were budgeted for something else that could be allotted to this project.
Anybody have any questions or anything? No, I think that, I know we've been at it with, Yuri's been at it. I think we haven't really done anything, but you've been at it for a long time, and I know we've been supporters of it. Just, it really has the potential to secure some events in the wintertime, which is always a challenge on the hotel side of things, but also, you know, more events like USA Curling, you know, that we were just able to secure. And I know that, you know, both Brandon and Jamie have spoke really highly and, you know, out of excitement for the potential, you know, once we get to the finish line.
Mhm. And it's a
So-
multi-use facility. I think that's the other piece that's attractive.
Yeah, that's a good
You know,
point.
it can be a 4 season facility, not just winter sports.
Well, that's the actual goal. It's our goal to have it's a year-round.
Yeah.
Multi-use, not just sport events, but any really outdoor events that we can utilize outdoor or indoor space. We wouldn't survive if it would be just for cross-country skiing. That we wouldn't make it.
I think the other thing that it speaks to Yuri's perseverance and incredible breadth of patience is what we've gone through the last year with the town of Middleton and the gates that they tried to put in the way of this project. And I think with that last easement that Mr. Erdman gave us, that really eliminated anything else that the town could try and do to stop this project. So I think we're full speed ahead at this point, and things will start moving rather quickly now.
So I think that I would, I guess, entertain a motion unless somebody else has some questions. Again, they're requesting 25K.
Just a point of clarification from Yuri. Is it possible to split this into two payments, one in 2021 and one in 2022?
Definitely.
So that would be another thing that the commission could consider.
Well, if we have the funds available, Julie, you're pretty confident we have them available. I would just assume go ahead and make a motion to approve the $25,000 for the grant request for cross-country ski for this year.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask. I was gonna say, does it matter, Julie, or can we just, is it easier just to do it this year? And
I would say if we can make one full payment, that would be the best course of action rather than to break it into two. It was just throwing it out there for consideration.
Yeah.
If people were hesitant about spending that much in 2021.
all right, so we can stick with Kathy's motion then. Does anybody want a second?
I'll second.
I think
All
I heard Kevin in there first.
No, we had 3 people vote in favor, so you're in good shape here. Any other discussion? Otherwise, all those in favor say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No, everyone did vote in favor, so it carries.
Well, thank you very much. Again, your first grant was in 2017, was instrumental to get community support. I mean, we raised over $1.5 million in individual donations and commitment from then. So again, that was in 2017. That grant was instrumental to make a push, and I'm pretty sure this will help us to make a next push. And I'll send you an update once we get the trails cleared this fall. With
Wonderful.
images
Would be
and-
awesome, because remember, I have committed to a cross-country lesson and outing.
You're going. I think you all guys should be coming.
Representative Hasselbein and Secretary Sayers and Middleton Times Tribune, Michelle Phillips wants to come. So you got some
Yes,
got some people in the queue waiting to get on the
Excellent.
trails.
excellent.
I'll just
Okay,
come
well,
and have a beer and watch.
Anybody else is welcome to join us.
Thanks again, Yuri.
Thank you.
Gary.
Have a good evening.
Take care.
Bye.
Yeah. All right, so we can move forward into the Destination Madison agreement. I would defer that over to Julie.
Okay. Today was really the first chance I had to look at this. And Laura, if you want to bring it up in the packet. My suggestion to Ellie was that we just go ahead and replicate what the current agreement is. So essentially, all we did was change the dates on this document of the commencement and the ending period. But in going through here, as I said this afternoon, I do have a couple of things to suggest, and I apologize that I did not get that to you for people who are visual, but I will talk you through these sections here. So if we go to, in the recitals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the 6th paragraph, it starts with, it is agreed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right down there toward the bottom of page 15, Laura, you're good. It is agreed that in consideration, et cetera, it cites the commission's percentage, and I would like to change that to Middleton Tourism's percentage. Anytime I see the commission in here, I'd like to be able to change that to Middleton Tourism. And my rationale is, we're the ones that are executing, we're the ones that are collecting, and we're the ones that are executing on any of this work, not necessarily the commission. So it's just a point of clarification. Moving on to the next paragraph, where it starts with further agreed, et cetera. This is the one that Kevin had pointed out when we looked at this agreement in September. And I would like to propose the following that might make this a little more clear. If we strike a portion of the receipts identified above equal to 10% of the 70%, and then the text that's in the parentheses, and just simply say that GMCVB will allocate 10% of the room tax charges collected by the city of Middleton to sports promotion and sports event solicitation. The point behind this paragraph was to ensure that the 7% that had been going to MASC was increased to 10, and the 10 that was going to the GMCVB was reduced to 7%. We added the text that's in red here, and I'll just table discussion on that until we get over to the Exhibit A. So does anybody have any concerns about the 2 changes as proposed?
Julie, does it call out the 7% to the GMCBB, or just by saying 10%?
I don't believe it does, Kathy, and we could just include that in here, in this section. The 10% would go to sports and 7% would go to general marketing and promotion.
Okay. Well, it's the total of the 17% is what they're looking to get, or is this 10% of what is collected from the 17%?
This would be 10% of what's collected of the total 17.
Okay, gotcha. And so it'd be 10% and the balance 7% to the, okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
we can't say MASC anymore because it's rolled into GMCVB.
Okay.
We have to we just have to specify what we want it to be going toward. So I'm happy to include language that references the 7% if that's what y'all would like to do.
I guess if it's clear to everyone else that the balance would go where it would go, I'm okay with it, but I don't know if there'd be any damage done, but to add it in.
Anybody else have an opinion?
I would agree with Kathy. I think we should just add it in, just
Okay.
to clarify.
So I'll say, and 7% to convention and event, promotion and solicitation. We'll just mirror what the other language is.
Yes.
Okay. Okay,
Julie, do you
Yes.
know, like if we do that, you know, the sports commission is under the Destination Madison now. Is it actually a separate budget? Like do those funds get split that way if they come in that way, or they kind of going in the same, you know, bank account? Like, I guess my question is what is the relevance of that? Is it relevant to do that?
It was more of, I think, trying to make a point to GMCVB that this is where we wanted them to channel their efforts for us.
Because I feel like, I don't know, Jim can chime in here, but I just know that we never really saw anything in terms of conventions out our way other than the big events like Ironman and CrossFit, but at that point it was just overflow. You know, so we didn't see a significant amount of anything. But on the sports commission side, that was a completely different story.
Right.
You know, so I don't know.
Yeah,
Jim?
yeah, I'd agree with that completely. You know, I mean, being part of a big brand, just about anything that the Destination Madison finds in terms of a convention, I'm going to receive that lead anyways. It's definitely the new business that's been brought to us from that organization has been through Jamie and Brandon for sure.
Mhm. We do have the option, if we go down. My other suggestion is that we number these pages.
You're right.
So if we go to the next page, Laura.
I feel like this contract could be a 8.5 by 11.
Right. There was a section in here that said we could access the books and the records pertaining the expenditure of our monies, which we have never exercised that, but we certainly could start requesting that. And I think with new leadership in position, some of these things that might have been a concern in the past, I'm not sensing that there would be any resistance to that with the new team that we're working with. And again, I think it's just a way to kind of let them know we're watching what you're doing.
Right.
To ensure that you're using our money that's promoting our best interest.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I was just wondering if we needed to be heavier on the sports side of things than even what we put in there.
Let's go over to the Exhibit A. And again, here, I would just change anything that says Tourism Commission to Middleton Tourism. I mean, their opening paragraph references the entities that are involved here. So just moving through here quickly, the reduced and waived fees, the hotels do get a $1 discount on their partnerships. So they should be being billed for $13.50 per room, those who are members. We also have a complimentary partnership, and the Chamber of Commerce has a complimentary partnership, and those are valued at $600. In the leads, I would question whether we need to keep the group tours and the motor coach leads and referrals. And in lieu of that, insert distribution of sports tourism leads and referrals. I see some, but I know I'm not seeing everything that's coming out of the sports side of the house. And Corey, I'd defer to you on the group tours, or maybe Laura could provide some insight into what the group tour activity was when she was there. But I think it's pretty minimal.
Yeah, it was not a focus at all. So it was more reactive than, I don't think they were actually going out of their way to find that kind of business.
I would see, Sarah, at like the Circle Wisconsin thing, and that was about it. And that's really their direction moving forward right now too. At least through my conversation with John Linen. I know he's not there anymore, but it's just historically the way it's been. I was actually kind of hopeful with Ellie coming in and being from a, you know, an area that has more of that, then maybe that would be a little bit more. I mean, I guess, but she's, you know, so new. You know, right now I think we go by that it's not.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to leave it on here, but I
I
would
just thought I'd
definitely-
bring it up. I mean, I don't know, maybe we just stick with this and just try to do our due diligence moving forward and start looking at these numbers, and then, you know, and asking for like the specific numbers. And then, you know, if we don't like it, we bring it up, and, you know, maybe it's just okay, but it gives us something to go on for the next contract cycle.
Okay,
Maybe, I guess. I don't know. Does everyone agree with that?
Well, I like the idea if we're trying to channel our funds towards the sports marketing, that we see that.
Mhm.
Now, are we limited to 3, or is this just could I, like on the first line, could we put business leads to Middleton, partner hotels and MTC? And just
Yeah,
take out the second line and then add sports tourism?
yeah, I think we can have as many as we want on here, Kathy, that we think we need, but I had initially done that, and then I saw that they had that as a second line.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we tried. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think that's fine if we want to keep it to the 3 bullet points. I'll just combine 1 and 2 and then add sports tourism.
If there's any pushback, in my opinion, I would rather, because we are trying to channel funds towards sports marketing, I would rather keep the sports marketing line and just kind of do the best we can with the group tour.
Okay,
That's just my opinion, but anybody else?
I mean, I know they're pivoting right now, excuse me, on their strategy to more leisure-based marketing and promotion. I haven't heard anything that told me that group tours and motor coach business was going to be part of that, but it could change. So I think let's just leave it in, and we'll add the sports
Okay.
tourism leads. We need to update the Essential Madison experiences because that's 4 obviously is gone. And then moving down toward the partner access section, the last bullet point is something that we have never taken advantage of, because that was part of the retainer that we had with Pilch and Barnett. So now that we're moving away from that kind of a marketing services model, this is pretty key for us. This is going to save Mari a tremendous amount of time trying to create a media list. And when I talked to Ellie about this, she was very receptive to providing any kind of help that we would need with the PR related activities coming out of this department. So that was pretty huge. And then Ellie and I added this last line. I generally met twice a year with Diane officially. Ellie would like to make that quarterly.
Okay.
So I think that also gives us an opportunity to, you know, kind of monitor what's going on and have more of a direct channel to the leadership team than we have in the past. So those were my suggested changes on the actual document itself. And then a couple of other things I wanted to share with you. In talking with Ellie, I was able to ascertain that Fitchburg has the same split that Middleton does. So they're paying them 17% with 10 going to sports and 7 going to general sales, marketing, and promotion. Verona is giving them 16% of the total room tax that's collected. Sun Prairie gives a flat amount, and we weren't sure what that was based on. But I know when I met with them recently, they had an agreement with MASC. And then the town of Blooming Grove, she just said they give us what is collected for room tax, but it was an unspecified amount. So I think she's trying to understand as well what Blooming Grove has invested in the organization. And then again, I would suggest that we add page numbers on here and call out the sections, either number the sections or title the sections somehow, so they're easier to pick out. And then just clean up the language regarding when it says Tourism Commission. So those are my suggestions. Any other comments, questions, or concerns?
Do we need to, is this an action item? Like, do we need to do anything?
I think at this point, if you just give staff directive to make the changes and present the document to GMCVB for additional discussion, then it will come back in November for a motion to approve, and then move on to the finance committee and the common council.
Everybody okay with that?
I have a question on the Essential Madison experience.
Yeah.
Taking Death's Door Distillery tour out. Is there anything we would want to have instead of that, or could have instead of that? Kevin, I'm even thinking like Capitol Brewery is one example. I've taken the beer tour there. It's pretty nice. And you're doing the seltzers and stuff now, or?
Capital is part of the program.
Okay.
We, in the last go around with grants for that project, Capital was selected as a recipient and Long Table was
Okay.
selected as a recipient. Now, Long Table's kind of changed up what they're doing. So I'm not sure that their experience is really the essential experience that the
Mhm.
consultant worked with them on. I mean, right now,
Okay.
we've kind of pulled back on promoting that and Mustard Bites because Patty's having such a difficult time getting staff over
Mhm.
at the museum, and there just isn't anybody that's available to do it right now. So I would insert Capital Brewery here for sure. And then depending on what the status is of those other two, they may or may not be added in here.
Mhm. Yeah, if this is part of what we're paying for, I'd sure like to make sure we
Yeah,
have, because if you come for one, you might want to go for both, or,
Right.
arrange it way. And having two is better than just the one, so.
right. So
Kevin,
we'll-
can I ask Kevin what his capacity is now? If that would be a good ad, or what's he think?
Am I unmuted? Yeah. We're struggling too with finding both of our tour guides are not comfortable. Well,
All
one has a different job and one's not comfortable with doing tours. So we're still struggling to get ours back up and running. We haven't had tours in over a year now. So we're kind of in the same situation. We're working on it so we can, because we had that, we spent a lot of time on that experience and a new tour, and we're making a lot of changes. So yeah, we'd like to get it up and going, but just finding someone to do it.
Yeah, we're in such a holding pattern with the pandemic yet, aren't we? It's just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Probably
that's
for a mass
gonna be with
mandate.
us for a while, I think. I mean, we could go really generic and just say promotion of essential Madison experiences to include participating Middleton businesses.
Yeah.
Rather
Yeah.
than call out the individual businesses. Does
Yeah.
that work?
yeah, you never know what's gonna happen,
Right,
absolutely.
okay, I'll make that change.
I
Anything
just want
else?
to put
Go
a
ahead.
time check out there. I'm gonna have to drop off the meeting in a few minutes, so just so you know.
Thank you.
I think we can move forward.
Yeah, so what I believe I have a directive to just go ahead and clean this up and make the changes, present it, and bring it back in November for a vote.
Yep.
Okay. Moving on to Belcher and Lincoln. This includes additions that were made by the tourism team and presented to B&L for their consideration. So this is the second draft of this agreement. We added a couple of things that we had put in the Pilch and Barnett agreement, and that included the definitions, which are on the next page, the early termination and end of services, just to give ourselves a little protection in case we decide to terminate the agreement earlier than the terms. It's a 2-year agreement with an option to renew for a 3rd year. And I think the big difference here is that all work will be project-based. We will no longer be on a retainer with the marketing agency. So this is ready for your approval, if so deemed. And then next steps would be city attorney approval.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve it, unless somebody has any, I guess, further questions.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
All right.
I'll second.
that
Jim
Kevin?
and yeah, Kevin second.
Thank you.
Do we have any discussion on this one? I know we kind of gone back and forth a little bit on it. Otherwise, all those in favor say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
I,
Anybody opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you. B-cycle is no longer being considered. The finance committee removed it from the capital budget request. I think that was 2 weeks ago. Kathy, correct me if I'm wrong, somewhere in that, somewhere in that vicinity. Yeah, I think the reasons I would cite was that the committee felt that the timing was bad on this, that the budget was too restrictive under the state levy, and there were a lot of concerns about the operational costs.
my
After-
reason, yeah, my reason was that this was going to be they were considering TIF funds for a 3-year contract. And when I think of a TIF investment, it's much longer term and it's for her, so that was my reason. And I do appreciate tourism supporting it, but taking TIF funds for it was just not something I felt comfortable with.
So off the agenda, and then my last item was the Wisconsin DMO grant program update. I wish I had something to report, but I do not. The indication was that decisions would be forthcoming sometime in October, so I guess they have 2 weeks or a week left to go. I'll have to be patient. And that is all I have for you.
All right. So I think we're good. Then just items for next meeting, anybody? We're getting to that time of the year, I know, where we've skipped meetings in the past, either November or December. And was it the December one that we've done that with, Julie, or did we end up having, I can't remember now. Maybe that was pre-pandemic, but are we planning to still meet next month?
I think we'll have to, because the Belcher and Lincoln memorandum will be on here.
Yeah.
Excuse me, the GMCVB agreement will be on here. We're gonna need to make a decision on that.
Okay.
I just want to thank Julie, Mari, and Lori. These are a lot of heavy lifting and a lot of work going into all these proposals. And I just say thank you. It's a lot of work you're doing, so thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Appreciate that.
I mean, it's not like Mari's really done that much work with the branding.
She has to take my whiplashings.
Anything else, I guess, for the next meeting? I think we'll go back to 4 o'clock too. I've been the one that's been a pain because I've been out driving and I'm now not on a PM route anymore. So we're getting there in our driver situation.
Great.
Yay.
Yes, yay. Pretty soon it means no more getting up at 6.
Nice for you.
Yeah.
Your kids will miss you, though, I'm sure.
Yeah, actually, I don't know why, but they do like me. So I must be, they say, you're the nice driver. I'm like, does that mean I'm a pushover? So I guess after that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
All right. Anyone want to throw a?
I'll say,
Jose?
yep.
Oh yeah, Jose, I was gonna throw in too. I last minute, I bought 30 cookies from you. You probably didn't even know this, and sent them with the UW volleyball team, and they're gonna be you're gonna have some new customers from them. I've never gotten so many compliments on bakery before, and they absolutely were a huge hit.
That's all. Thank you for doing that.
Yep, no problem. Other than that, I think we're good.
We just bought some too, Jose. There was a company from Baraboo that's looking at relocating to Middleton. They had a little bus tour of the city last week, and we gave them each a cookie as a thank you for coming gift. So we're keeping your baker busy.
Thank you. I appreciate
So,
that.
those cookies are good. Are they over 1,500 calories though? Do we want to know the answer to that?
They are free, no, all good for you.
It's like a meal.
Right. Yeah, my kids love them too.
Yeah.
So they're good.